Hello everybody and welcome back to Pravus Gaming and more Tekkit. In the last video, we built a fully autonomous quantum armor factory that we should never ever have to worry about again. Now, some of you guys might have noticed it was a little bit chaotic in there last time. The tubes were all over the darn place. Well, I took the liberty of cleaning it up just a little bit. It's not perfect, okay? But it's better, I think, than what it was before, in part because I actually did create a system down in a basement to try and control how we are splitting up all of our stacks. Uh-oh. Nope, 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 nope. I don't want to risk breaking that today. No, thank you. We'll deal with that later. Anyway, yeah, so it frees up a little bit of space. I think it is slightly better than it was before. So there you go. Now you guys can get off of my case. The important thing, though, is we are now able to create plenty of quantum armor. I have let this thing run for hours, and this is what has resulted. Whoa, that's even more than what I thought. Look at this! Look how amazing it is! So much armor! 4 mass fabricators working in tandem definitely is faster than it was before, and we have obviously way more scrap than I know what to do with. Oh, there goes some more iridium ore. Wonderful. So yeah, if we ever have any problems with quantum armor, we got plenty of it. Now, we have not tested this quantum armor yet, and I think it is time to change that. So I am thinking in today's episode, we are going to try and hunt and kill the Ender Dragon. Now, this may be a shorter episode than you guys are used to because I don't anticipate it'll take forever. Though it very well might. Let's just create some Eyes of Ender. We probably need more, actually. Wait, these have an EMC value, don't they? Totally do. I don't anticipate it's going to be that difficult to kill the Ender Dragon. We are OP as heck right now, but let's grab some of you. It still will be pretty fun. So let's go ahead and hop in here. Let's grab some Eyes of Ender. Oh, that's plenty, actually. All right, fine, never mind. I guess we don't need one of my many stacks of dark matter. All right, if you guys haven't hunted for the Ender Dragon before, it's, well, pretty boring, but having flight certainly helps. We are going to launch an Eye of Ender. Oh, there it goes. And it's going to find me the stronghold. Give it back. Thank you. And we're just going to follow this thing. Where'd it go? For a while. Where'd you go? There you are. Follow it for a while until we find a stronghold. Whoa, whoa, it's going down now. Have we finally found the base? It certainly seems that way. All right, let's hop on in then. Let's just dig straight down for... Whoop. Well, maybe. Hang on. Eye of Ender, guide me. Down further, you say? Very well. I shall go further. Oh! Well, found it. Good news. I am immune to the lava. Oh, what's this nonsense? Skeletons? Whoa. Oh, hi. Silverfish. I haven't had to deal with you guys in forever. I didn't even realize you were in this stage of the game. Well, that's interesting. Alright, cool. We found ourselves an Ender Fortress thing. Stronghold. I don't know, whatever they're supposed to be called. Ooh, this one has like a chasm running straight through it. What kind of amazing cataclysm occurred here? It's actually one of the best strongholds I've ever seen. Very porous, though. Not secure at all. Alright, let's hop inside. Eye of Ender, Eye of Ender, Eye of Ender. Doop-a-doop, doop, doop, doop. Doop-a-doop, and da-doop. Ooh, the end. The end of all things. The void calls me. Alright, in we go. Whee! Oh, hello, little Enderman. How are you? There's a dragon. This looks incredibly pixelated. Is it just me? I mean, isn't it supposed to be a little bit darker and more voidish? This just seems like it's like my monitor's dead. Colors messed up everywhere. Hello, Endermen. It's a little Ender City. Kill them all! Whoop, that's a dragon. I think the dragon just bumped me, but I didn't even notice. Huh. Well, that worked out pretty well. How quickly can I kill the dragon? Pretty quickly. Stand to be a little bit faster. It keeps flying higher, which I don't appreciate. Could you come back here? Or don't. I guess it's okay. Oh, such a majestic creature. Oh, it's healing. That's rude. You know what I'm reminded of with this? I'm kind of reminded of Spirited Away. You know, that animated movie. When the water dragon's being chased by a million little paper things that are killing it. Yeah, kind of reminds me of that right now. Hey, he's coming back! Woo! Oh, the guitar works pretty darn well, though. Yeah! Yeah! I like it. Don't you run from me. Come back here. Chase him, my beautiful arrows. Come here. There you are, big boy. Oh, maybe not. Hang on. Hey, that's a dead dragon right there. Wha-boom! Look at all the arrows that are, like, spasming in a vortex around its corpse. And a million friggin' XP, which we haven't really messed with in a long time. Hi, guys. What's up? Oh, you all seem pretty upset. Did I do something to offend you? Have I killed something precious to you? No, that's fine. I can kill y'all. Just stay put for a second. It won't take long. You know what's funny is the vortexes all, like, hesitate for a moment before they move on to the next target. It's like, woo! Alright, let's collect my reward. XP for me. There we go. Doop-a-doop. Wow, that is a lot of levels. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with them all, but I got plenty of them. Woo! Level 104. Somehow I was hoping for a bit more than that, but okay. So, let's go ahead and grab this egg. Did I get the egg? Where'd the egg go? Where'd my egg? Oh, there it is. Hello, egg. Come here. What are you doing? It's playing hard to get with me. You know, it's been so long since I've killed the Ender Dragon that I totally forgot you needed to use a piston or something to, like, push it and then get the egg that way. So I had to go all the way back and come back here. But fortunately, using Tekkit, we also have something called block breakers, which tend to work just fine if I can angle this the way I want it to. Hang on, place right. Yeah, there we go. And torch. Boom! There's the egg. Spits it right out. EMC value of 139,000. Wait a minute. I can create a million zillion Ender Dragons? Oh my god. Oh, maybe one of these days I'll actually come up with a good use for those dragon eggs. But it is not this day. Not in this version of Tekkit. Alright, so since we have plenty of time left in this video, what should we do you think? Well, I know one thing that people are constantly asking for is a nuclear reactor, because everyone thinks that nuclear reactors are amazing. I don't necessarily agree. I think my geothermal reactor is just great. And nuclear energy can be a bit more trouble than I think it is worth. But it is kind of fun to play a little bit around with nuclear engineering, and there are a lot of different configurations that you can use. We'll go over a couple of those today, and then maybe I'll let one of them blow up so we can see what's going to happen with it. But if we're going to build some nuclear reactors, there are a couple of things that we are going to need. First, we need an actual nuclear reactor. Duh. This thing is made using some advanced alloys, a couple of advanced circuits, a basic generator, and then some reactor chambers. Now, what are reactor chambers? We're actually going to need quite a few of these, I think, like 8 in total. 2 to build this thing and 6 to go around it. But the reactor chambers are made, again, using advanced alloys, a machine block, and then something new called an integrated reactor plate and an integrated heat disperser. Now, what is this? Well, an integrated reactor plate is simply an advanced alloy surrounded by some copper. That's not too bad. And then an integrated heat disperser is one of those plates with an advanced circuit, some copper, and then those dreaded coolant cells. And basically the concept behind a lot of this stuff is it's basically like a heat sink. It's actually going to try to take the heat from a nuclear reactor and disperse it out toward coolant cells, water, something that can help cool down the reactor. Because with nuclear reactors in industrial craft, you actually do have to worry about the temperature of your nuclear reactor. If it gets really bad, right? If it gets really bad, like 1,000 degrees or something stupid like that, I don't know, there will be a massive boom. I mean, you thought the Crater of the Damned, I mean, formerly the Village, but now the Crater. You thought the Crater of the Damned was bad, and by bad, I mean it's kind of, alright, that's not too bad. No. If you ever saw a nuclear reactor go haywire, that's when things get really crazy. And we'll probably experiment with that, and I'll show you what it looks like. For now, though, let's build a couple of those nuclear reactors, and then a couple of those nuclear chambers. Alright, so let's start by building a few of those plates, since I know that I need those. We'll do something like this. Integrated blow up. They don't stack. I forgot about that. Ugh, I hate when things don't stack. It's so irritating. Alright, fine. We'll dump some of my leftover junk. I'm sure I don't need most of this stuff right now anyway, right? Probably not. Okay. Alright, All right, so we have some of those. Then we needed, what was it? The advanced circuit, some copper, and coolant cells. Right, let's go ahead and build one of those real quick. A little bit of copper, advanced circuit, cooling cells, which again don't stack because they're dumb. And now we have disperser plates, which actually are useful and probably could be produced in bulk if you want to experiment with different kinds of reactor configurations. I'm not going for that. I'm honestly going to go for some of the simpler ones if I can. But let's go ahead and place down a quick machine block. And we wanted to get some plates around here, one of the dispersers, and then some advanced alloy. And that's one of our reactor chambers. And then once we have a couple of those, we can place on some advanced circuits with those chambers, a generator, and then, what was it? Just advanced alloy? Yes, indeed, advanced alloy. And then boom, we have a nuclear reactor. I'm going to go ahead and make a handful of extra chambers, but we'll use, I think, 2 reactors and stuff. I'm going to try out 2 different configurations and show you guys what that can look like. Okay, and there we go. Now, a few things that we will probably want to build just to be safe. If you're going to have a nuclear reactor and you don't want it to melt down because, you know, you'd have to be an idiot to want to trigger a nuclear meltdown, there's a few things you can build that'll try to help you. And those are reinforced glass, reinforced stone, and then a reinforced door. Now, the glass and the stone are pretty easy to make. It's just an advanced alloy surrounded by some smelted stone, or just a bit of advanced alloy and then some glass in kind of an H pattern, and that'll make you quite a bit of that. You'll want to build a chamber out of this stuff to kind of surround your nuclear reactor. That way, if it does melt down, you have some extra strong blocks to try and contain the blast radius. And in order to access that chamber, you can build a reinforced door, which is just a bit of that reinforced stone in a typical door pattern. Now, in the interest of time, I've taken the liberty of already building one of these chambers just so that we'll be able to test some stuff out. So, yeah, reinforced stone everywhere, open up the door, and then boom, here we are. Okay, so if we want to place the nuclear reactor, what we want to do probably to start off is just place a simple thing of dirt, like right here, and then the nuclear reactor can go on top, like so. And then we want to place some nuclear chambers, reactor chambers, sorry, all the way around it. Now, you only have 6 available faces to place a chamber on, like so, and that's why there's no point in building a whole lot of extra ones. So you want to do something kind of like this. It's also the reason you want to have your nuclear reactor elevated so you can actually fit something underneath. But now if we right-click on this, you can see that we have all this inventory space. Now, if we just had only the nuclear reactor, I think it's like 2 columns and that's it. But every extra reactor we're adding onto the side is increasing the capacity of our nuclear reactor, which means more uranium that can be, well, reacting in the reactor, and more room for coolant and stuff like that. So it just gives you a lot more power, but you can make do with something smaller if you want to. Now, for this first configuration I'm going to go for, I am going to be using equivalent exchange to try and get some free coolant. So I'm going to go ahead and knock this hole in here, and what we'll do is we'll place just a couple of quick energy collectors, kind of like over here. You guys are used to seeing those, right? And then we'll place one, let's say here, one right here, a condenser, and then I need to get myself a filter, which we can place, let's try to place this right, there we go. I don't want to have to get the screwdriver out. And what we're going to do with this thing is we are going to start feeding in ice, and that is it. I know, big honkin' cubes of ice. Speaking of which, I actually should probably go make some real quick. I'll be right back. Ice, if you don't know, can be made just by taking a snowball and running it through a compressor. So there we go. All right, let's go ahead and put the ice in here. Now we can make a whole bunch of those. Perfect. As soon as that's done, I'll take out a quick stack. We will put this into the filter, kind of like so. And we will need to run a timer and stuff like that. Oh, rain. Lovely. We'll place you right here. One right here. There we go. And once we've hooked this up to our nuclear reactor, we will be able to start feeding some ice into it. Now, the next thing that we're going to need is some proper fuel. And fuel, of course, is going to require some enriched uranium. You guys have seen that before when I made the nuclear bomb that created the crater of the damned over there. We want to take some of that, but we also want to just kind of chuck it into some cells so we can have refined uranium cells ready to go. And this stuff is super easy to make. You take some of the refined uranium, which if you guys don't remember is just uranium in a compressor, so really easy. You put it in here with the cells, and then boom, you've got a whole load of uranium cells that don't stack, again, because nothing freaking stacks at this stage of the game. Ah! Despise coolant and stuff. This is one of the reasons I hate working with nuclear reactors, and I like geothermal so darn much. But okay, so what we want to do then is we want to go down here. We want to get some uranium and place it inside of the reactor. Now, you may notice that they are degrading right off the bat, which should probably warn you that, well, you got nuclear energy that's pumping in here now. We probably should go ahead and start feeding in some coolant, because this thing's starting to smoke and overheat. And I don't like that at all. So let's get this ice in here real quick. I'm suffering from some radiation poisoning. I probably am okay, though. I have quantum armor. But yeah, that's a little dangerous. All right, we have ice. I need to go get more cells. I think I just accidentally put my Klein star in here and just lost the darn thing. Oh, well, that's fun now, isn't it? Okay, we need more ice. Flowers for some quick emergency EMC. This thing's gonna freaking melt down. Whoop! It melted down. Well, what the heck happened? We had so much ice. Clearly, I don't know what I'm doing, because this is what happened. And this was a contained blast, by the way. You can imagine how that would have looked if it hadn't worked. All right, let's go ahead and pick up all my extra reactors and stuff. Fortunately, I didn't lose a lot. Let's try this again, but this time I'm not going to bother with reinforcing the thing because it's just going to take too long. Now, in order to prevent what you just saw happen a second ago, it does help to monitor the temperature of this thing, and to that extent, there is something called a thermal monitor, which is this right here. There we go, thermal monitor, which is made using advanced circuits, some redstone, and then that reinforced glass stuff we were talking about earlier. And for wiring purposes, it actually would be helpful to also have some red alloy wire, which is a bit more flexible than redstone while still carrying an electric charge, or at least a redstone charge. So, this stuff is made by taking the red alloy ingots, which is made by just using redstone and some iron, or redstone and some copper in an alloy furnace, kind of like the blue electric stuff we were looking at before. So what I'm going to do to this thing now is I'm going to place a lever on here, and I'm just going to switch it on like this. And then we're going to place a thermal monitor right meow. There we go. And this thing will be able to tell me what the temperature of this thing is, or at least when it's going to send a signal. So if it generates, 500 heat, which we'll just presume is like, I don't know, Kelvin or something, whatever the temperature is supposed to be in Minecraft temperature units. Once it gets to a certain heat, it's going to send off a redstone signal, which can turn off the reactor to try and prevent it from overheating. And now if I place a quick block like this, and then grab some of this red alloy wire, place a couple down like this, there we go, this should be able to help turn it off. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab a few stacks of the ice, let's say 4, 5, 6, 7 or so. We're going to place it in here right off the bat this time, so we don't risk our uranium overpowering the ice, and then, well, things blow up in my face, which, by the way, can I just say this is a testament to the power of the quantum armor. A nuclear reactor just freaking melted down in my face, and I totally survived it. Anyway. All right, let's go ahead and grab some of those enriched cells that I was talking about before and try this one again. Okay, the nuclear energy is ready to go. We just need to give it a place to go. Let me get an MFSU. And the other thing that we want to go ahead and create probably are some high voltage cables, or something like that would work. 4 times insulated? Yeah, I kind of like that idea. We're going to create some high voltage cables, which is refined iron, and then we're going to wrap it around with some rubber, and then wrap it a little bit more, and then wrap it a little bit more, in order to get our super insulated high voltage cables. So we'll just do something like this a couple of times, and then we'll place these right here, surround it a bit, like this. Oh, well, no, apparently we can just dump it in here. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize that. Okay, that also works. Far more convenient. 4 times insulated high voltage cables. Let's place you... that's not what I wanted. Hang on. Place you... It's not being very nice, is it? There we go. Look how thick that cable is. That's how you know it's freaking heavy duty. All right, place you guys down here into an MFSU. Get rid of the grass. Gosh, dang it. There we go. Come on. Get it. Why is it being so stubborn? There we go. Freaking grass gets in the way. Who would have thunk? And now, in theory, we should be able to turn this thing on. Well, something just blew up. Apparently that MFSU could not handle it. That actually was totally deliberate. I wanted to show that if you do not use a transformer, then even an MFSU is going to blow up. Now this is the high voltage transformer, because really nuclear reactors kind kind of generate power at something even higher than high voltage, believe it or not. Like our geothermal facility, you get an MFSU, that thing outputs at high voltage. This is like ultra high voltage. And if you want to go into an MFSU, you do have to step it down into just regular high voltage, which is why we needed the HV transformer. This thing is made using an electronic circuit, energy crystal, medium voltage transformer, and a little bit of this 4x insulated high voltage cable. And then now, if we turn this thing on, doink. Let's see. First off, it's using a... Okay, hang on. Actually, before we do that, let's make sure that we keep feeding in more ice, please. That'd be good. Yeah, there we go. Okay, now we can turn it on. All right, we should be generating some power. And sure enough, there we go. We are now generating nuclear powers. Isn't this fun? And we should just keep stacking this up, and nothing will ever go wrong. And believe it or not, we should be able to fill it with all of these uranium cells, and as long as we keep supplying in plenty of ice, which I think we're doing just fine, we're never going to have this thing blow up, in theory. So there we go. We are already generating hundreds of thousands, if not millions of, millions of electrical units in practically no time at all. And if this thing ever does get up to 2100 degrees, this thing should automatically turn on, emit a redstone signal, and turn off the reactor. So now, it should be completely safe. If you didn't want to put things in MFSU, though, one thing you could do, and I'll just go ahead and knock these out real quick for a second. One thing we could do is hook this directly up to a mass fabricator. Once we've stepped it down with the transformer, first, don't forget that or things blow up. Place you right here, and then look how much faster this is. Look how fast this is compared to what we had to do with the geothermal facility. This is the big reason to use a nuclear reactor. It is so good at generating hue matter that really my geothermal facilities just cannot compare. That's without scrap, guys. Imagine how much quantum armor I can make if I hooked one of these bad boys up. Now, these things should last for a very long time, but eventually it will come to an end, and when it does, you're going to wish you had some way of re-enriching your uranium. Well, never fear. There is, in fact, a way to do so. I kind of cheated myself in a near-depleted uranium cell because I didn't feel like waiting forever, but if we took one of these things, we could place it right next to some coal dust in the crafting bench, and we have a depleted isotope cell. But this by itself isn't going to do much. If you want this thing to actually get recharged, what you're going to have to do then is place it in the reactor. There we go. Surrounded by other uranium cells, and as it heats up, it should gradually recharge until it becomes a re-enriched uranium cell. At which point you can take it out and place it in the crafting bench with even more coal dust, and you should be able to get a brand new uranium cell. These are called breeder reactors if you actually try to set it up in such a way that it is taking the depleted cells, sending them to get re-enriched, brought back in here, re-enriched, sent back out, more coal dust, new uranium cells, and so on. Going back and forth. They call them breeder reactors. Not too sure why, but that's just what the wiki says. And you can get some rough idea that it is charging. If I look at the tag here, you can see depleted isotope cell 30203:9935 currently. That :9935 has something to do with the value stored within the unit. For example, if I look at this uranium cell, it's 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on. You can see that things are happening. It takes a long dang time for these things to recharge. But we can see that progress is being made, so it doesn't look like much, but it is happening. So there we go, guys. One perfectly functioning nuclear reactor sitting out here in the middle of a field, which is pretty fun. You know what, though? I don't really anticipate that I'm going to use this thing much, so let's go ahead and take out my UU matter, because I do like that. We're going to go ahead and take all this apart, and I'm going to let this thing blow up, just so you can see how powerful it really is without the containment unit. And hopefully, this will teach you guys why containing nuclear reactors is so gosh dang important. Wow, that's a lot of ice. Wow, that's a lot of ice. Okay, I don't know what to do with all of you. I kind of just wanted to get my collectors and stuff back. But if you're not going to let me, that's fine. Okay, well, this thing's going to blow pretty soon, so let's go ahead and take this all out. I'm going to take off the lever so this thing's on. There we go. No ice, please. I want you to burn. And there we go. It's catching on fire. Now is probably a good time to run. Oh, gosh, that was it. Boom! Well, that was even faster than I thought it would be. All right, yeah, see, this thing in comparison to one of those nuclear bombs at the Crater of the Damned, it's a fair bit better. Hi, creepers. Oh, you just got a really fun surprise, didn't you? Bet you didn't see that coming. And my quantum armor has saved me. I couldn't even fly away fast enough. That was amazing. All right, well, I'm going to have to recollect some of this crap later. But yeah, nuclear meltdowns, guys. You place this in the middle of your base and you don't contain it. The difference is you have this if you contain it, and that if you don't. So please contain your units. Do your nuclear engineering responsibly. Hi, guys. Excuse me. I want my uranium, please. Nope, that's it. Yes, thank you. Goodbye. Oh, I blew up my diamond chest. Darn it. I thought I was going to have a place to put all this stuff. Now, let's suppose you're the type of person who doesn't like equivalent exchange and thinks that it's cheaty that I can just... Why are you killing Sean's cousin? That's so rude. If you're the kind of person who doesn't believe that you should be able to supply unlimited ice into your reactor, well, never fear. There are ways of building basic reactors that will work just fine, although probably not nearly as effective, and you're going to have to kind of manually go in there and recharge your system once in a while. We're going to go ahead and make a reinforced glass setup like this. I'm going to create kind of a hollowed-out box. Okay, now I'm going to place some dirt just so I can get a nuclear reactor in position, kind of like so. We're going to put in some nuclear chambers. Not sure I'm going to be able to fit all that I want in here. I do kind of need access into this thing still, but let's just try this for the time being and see how it looks. I think we can probably go for a full 6 reactors. All right, so we've got this kind of box thing going on here. And what I'm going to do is take some buckets of water. And this stuff does actually work to try and disperse some of the energy and the heat. So I should be able to place these kind of in the corner like this, I think. And this should help kind of disperse the heat and help this thing cool down a bit. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my thermal monitor right meow. Something like this. 500 degrees for now is probably okay. And then we'll place some redstone wiring, kind of like this. I think then, once it gets to a certain temperature, this should automatically turn off the entire reactor. So, okay, that's working. Let's go ahead and fill in a little bit more of this. It's not exactly perfectly contained, but it's okay. It'll stop most of a nuclear blast if everything goes horribly, horribly wrong, I think. We do want to leave at least a couple of spaces open, though, so I can access the nuclear reactor, which is kind of why I'm doing it this way. So, not the safest thing in the world, but it might work. Let's go ahead and get some high voltage cabling running out this way and into a transformer. And then we should be able to hook it up directly to a mass fabricator. Now we need to power this thing. We need to actually give it some fuel. How are we going to do that, you might ask? Good question. Wait, I can't access it with the... Darn. Hang on. I need to access this thing still. Let's break open the top. Yep, there we go. Can I get you? Reactor. Okay, I can't get into you. All right, so this is where we're going to need to create a whole load of those dispensers and stuff that I was talking about. We're going to need a load of extra coolant cells. We're going to need some disperser plates. I think this is what they are. I don't recognize them with this texture pack. But yeah, we're going to create a whole bunch of these. And we're going to create this complex pattern of fuel, coolant cells, and heat sinks to try and disperse the heat to the coolant and see what works. Fortunately, I kept a few handy in that chest back there, so we don't have to wait forever to create all those coolant cells. Okay, so we're going to try to create this special pattern here, and the way that this is supposed to work, ideally, is you want to have your uranium surrounded by coolant cells to try and prevent them from overheating, and then create it in such a symmetrical pattern that these integrated heat dispersers can be surrounded by coolant cells, which I think, if I'm understanding this correctly, will give each of them increased effectiveness. Like, I don't know, if it was Dungeons and Dragons, it would be a +2 coolant cell of cooling, or something, I don't know. We're going to place them in this kind of a pattern, though, and I think this will work just fine. If you go onto the Tekkit wiki or other places on the internets, they should give you some good ideas as far as what the ideal patterns are going to look like, depending on the size of your reactor chamber. So now comes the moment of truth. If we place some of these in here, like this, there we go. They are using up our coolant cells. Now, here's the downside of this thing, is we don't have any sort of re-enrichment program going on. So, at some point, these uranium cells will get used up, and we're going to have to come by and replace them manually. But at least in the meantime, I think we're now generating power. Let's see. Yes, the mass fabricator is indeed producing something. Now, this is far, far, far slower than what the other setup was doing for us. So it gives you an idea of just how much weaker this is as opposed to the ice setup. The ice setup had like 47 enriched uranium cells working at the same time, which gave us an absolute freaking ton of power. This only has 10, and as a result, we can see tangibly it is producing our UU matter at a much, much, much slower rate. And for that reason, honestly, the ice setup with equivalent exchange is probably one of the best ones. Now, you can get as complicated with this stuff as you really want to, right? Let's suppose you wanted to create a breeding generator that takes out, you know, the depleted cells and then re-enriches them and sends them back in and stuff like that. You can try to set something up using your pneumatic tube systems and filters, though I don't think it's going to work out all that well. Alternatively, you can try using computer craft, which I will not get into because I don't code Lua. But if you wanted to try using computers and stuff, you could actually set up a system of all these different electrical signals that automatically pulls stuff out and feeds new things into the reactors. It's worth looking up on YouTube sometimes. Some people have created some really creative reactors. One thing I forgot to mention, always place a world anchor near your nuclear reactors. The things can still overheat and the coolant doesn't really work the way it's supposed to. So if you don't have this chunk loaded, you might be in for a bad time. Unfortunately, I do not have time for that, so I am going to have to leave you guys early. I know this is a short episode, but unfortunately, due to some sickness issues and stuff, I was a little bit short on time this week, so this is the best I'm able to do. But there we go. Ender Dragon slain, nuclear reactor built. I think we're actually getting kind of close to the end of this series, but I will be back next time. We'll check out the villagers, see how they are doing, see if there's any other loose ends that we want to wrap up, and that was where we'll end things today. Thank y'all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If so, then be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.